How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Living Legends podcast, a semi-weekly Flesh and Blood podcast where we talk about all aspects of the Flesh and Blood trading card game. Today I am joined, as usual, by Az from Go Again Gaming and Bill from the Spike Feeders, but today we have an extra special episode because we have our very first guest. Before we introduce the guest, Az and Bill, would you like to introduce yourselves? And I'll choose Az this time because I know if I leave it open, it'll be awkward.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm Az from Go Again Gaming, across the pond from these guys, and just can't wait to go into this episode because it's all about content creation and tips and tricks for all of us, no matter what levels we are, what we're doing.
It's going to be a good one.
Can't wait to go into it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, should be good.
How about you, Bill?
And I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. The thing that we like to do on our channel is showcase in-person gameplay and do semi-excellent reveals for cards for the Flesh and Blood TCG.
Humble semi-excellent.
Yeah, I'm not going to pat myself on the back too hard. Last time I broke my arm, so. But we're going to be talking about some really interesting stuff today with our extremely revered and special guest.
Yeah, and our guest today is Chris Bewley from Legend Story Studios. Chris is I believe your title is it content manager? But yeah, welcome, Chris.
Somewhere in between content manager, content god, emperor, overlord, and dude that fills in the gaps.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Az, and thank you, Cal. Morena, kia ora from New Zealand, and hello. Nice to meet you, everybody, and thanks for tuning in, all the fans out there. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Before we get started, we do have like a large Q&A section that we kind of solicited from the community as well as from ourselves. But let's introduce who Chris is, kind of where you come from. I know some of you listening out there might recognize Chris from a pretty old school Flesh and Blood YouTube series. Was it called 7 Days of Flesh and Blood? And you did interviews and stuff. I remember watching that when I first started getting into Flesh and Blood. I think you were the first interview with James White that I saw. I think.
Can confirm it was the world exclusive of the interview with CEO and founder James White of Legend Story Studios back in the day. Yeah, so I had the 7 Days of Flesh and Blood with Chris Bewley YouTube channel. How many? I probably cracked out about 10 or 15 videos. Most of them were interviews. Yeah, one-on-one sort of interviews. Went for 7 questions every 7 days with some key figures of the community. And episode 1 was audio only with Matt Rogers. That was an awesome way to start things off. And yeah, we got a world first James White interview, and that was probably my content creation highlight to date. So yeah, that's where I started off with my FAB content journey.
And I know because you showed me you had some previous content much long ago, I would say.
Oh man, yeah, far out. So I was like, oh, awesome! Thank you so much for inviting me on Living Legends. So I thought I should just give myself a little bit of a refresher, make sure I'm up to date with what all 3 of you and the channels that you're working with have been up to. And I can't remember, but I fell down a rabbit hole of a channel that I had 9 years ago, and it was called Desperate Ravings, based off a fantastic card which I used to play a lot of back in the day. But yeah, there was a Desperate Ravings channel, and they had I forgot that it existed. I went back, had a look, and you see yourself 9 years prior, and you're like, I knew I was young, but wow,
yeah,
I look pretty haggard these days. So yeah, it was found a treasure trove of there's a few appearances from Matt Rogers in these 9-year-old videos, so that really brought me back a few laughs and almost tickled started to titillate the juices of my inspiration gland of potential possible upcoming content in future, but that's just an idea. So yeah, a couple channels of myself back in the day, but been a while myself since I've created something.
Yeah, man. It only starts with an idea, and then you just start going, and sometimes you don't stop.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that content creation bug.
Yeah. I mean, personally,
Yeah,
I just love
once you
creating
catch it, you can't stop.
Exactly. Well, and that's a good thing too, because at least YouTube very much rewards people who don't stop. So if you get the bug and you don't stop, you've already started off pretty well. But maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with that here.
So content creation, not stopping / AKA regular frequent posts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important in my opinion. It's one of the key to successes, at least on YouTube. But that's true for almost all areas of content. If you want to consider stuff like Twitter or even like Twitch or anything like that, frequent uploads is important.
Absolutely. Yeah. People often, whether they're explicitly told something or not, if humans / people see the same patterns or trends over and over, they start to expect it. So if you keep dropping a video at 7 p.m. PST, but you don't promise that you're going to keep doing it, people, of course, will expect it. So it's such a massive part of successful content creation, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get started with our Q&A, I figured I should ask. I guess this is a question, but how did you get started with Legend Story Studios? How did what's your origin story with your involvement with LSS?
It'd be a 2-year story or some type of 22-year story.
Ooh.
I guess it goes all the way back to the womb. No, not that far. But I've been I just turned 36, so I think I've been playing card games for about 20 years. Yeah. And it all started with, rest in peace, Mr. Takahashi's Yu-Gi-Oh! Creation. So I'd watch it, you run home from high school, Yu-Gi-Oh's, you're conditioned to know that the content that you want to consume, the TV show, it's on at 4 p.m. every day. So I was running home from school to watch Yugi Moto cheat and lie through his teeth to win these amazing, exciting games.
Hey.
But anyway, I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh!
Hey, if you can attack the moon,
sorry, hello.
If you can attack the moon, go for it. Attack the moon.
Yeah, it's a looming threat. But I was hooked on Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I was like, okay, I'll go down to the shop, start playing. So I started playing all these games. Much of my CV to get involved with my current job was the 20 years before, which could be summed up of being heavily immersed, involved, entrenched, active, and proactive in the card game community. So in those 20 years, I was playing lots of games, and one of my second favorite trading card game of all time, it's called Versus System, and it was Marvel and DC, and a little bit of Hellboy came in sort of late. And that was an awesome upper deck game. And so down in my hometown of Invercargill, New Zealand, which is at the bottom of New Zealand, Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones famously called it the asshole of the world. So there's not much going on in Invercargill. Anyway, so I got hooked on Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Marvel Versus System because I'm a Marvel fiend, and got into these games. But there was not a lot of action happening in my hometown, so I would travel on a bus 8 hours to go to pre-releases and just the most basic, almost armory type level events to play with my favorite superheroes. And James White was running these events in a city, Christchurch, 8 hours away on the bus. So I was about, between 17 and 20 years old, traveling these things because I was just absolutely obsessed and passionate of, playing games with people in the flesh and blood, but it was Versus System. So I was playing these games, got to know James, and he was like, what? So you're telling me that you travel 8 hours on the bus consistently, regularly to different events just because you like this game? I'm like, yeah, is that weird? So I guess we became friends, seeing each other at lots of events. And James was running lots of events for lots of different games around the country at the time, being a sort of independent tournament organizer. James had been creating communities and card games for well over 20 years in New Zealand. So I got to know him around that sort of thing. and we played a lot of Magic tournaments and things together. He is a very successful Magic player, and I'd see him around. You know, you just see people around the scene. You start making friends with people, and was fortunate enough to become friends with James through the years, through different games and things. I did little bits of sort of Yu-Gi-Oh tournament organizing in that city, Christchurch in New Zealand. I had a very brief stint of that one, and we have like these little, well, not little for US standards, large for New Zealand standards, but it's kind of like Comic Con type things.
Oh yeah.
It's called Armageddon is the big one that we have here, and you know, James would be involved in that. He's had a few different sort of businesses or products launches or promotions over the years. So sometimes I would go with James to the Armageddon Expo and just sort of work with him on maybe a product or a promotion that he was sort of doing there. So yeah, just got to work with James in a few minor bits and pieces over the years. But we've been friends for probably a good 20 years. Wow, time flies.
Yeah.
But you know, and we'd sort of touch base every now and then. My last 6 years or so, I was an academic English teacher. So I'd play games,
really?
say hi every now and then. And he had, you know, always had lots of businesses and ideas going on in the background. So every now and then I'd check in and he's, I'm working on this game. Yeah, I'm chipping away, making a new game. So that was cool. And about 2 years ago, I went to China with my English teaching. So I was over there. And for this current job at Legend Story Studios, let's skip back just another 2 years. Just before I went to China for teaching, 2019, Flesh and Blood came out in New Zealand. I was like, wow, James, that's awesome. The game's out. That's great. How can I get involved? How can I get involved? And just sort of said, hey, play the game, be the best ambassador you can be, and maybe if something comes up one day, we'll see how we go. And yeah, I was in China about a year and a half ago now, almost 2 years, and I was having an extraordinarily challenging time, to put it lightly, at that point in China, and it was like a gift from the gods. James just hit me up on Facebook and said, how's it going? I said, pretty good, you know, got all these challenges and difficulties. I was very much fearing for my life at that point. I was like, yeah, you know, just really getting to know myself and overcoming these challenges and being and then he's like, there's a job here if you're interested as an account manager. And I was like, thank you so much, but you know, I'm going to stick this out. I'm going to just become a better person. And then 2 days later, I was very, very much in need of an angel and some type of angelic intervention. And then I said, hey, James, was that an interview or is that an offer? And he said, yeah, it's a real job. So I said, okay, I'm getting on the plane tomorrow. So
wow.
Nice.
And one of the most terrifying and scary 3 days of my life, I took 3 connecting flights out of China and came back to New Zealand and have been working with Legend Story Studios ever since.
Nice.
There we go. Hopefully that wasn't the full hour, so there you go.
No. It was just like a 15 minutes. No worries. No worries. No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's a crazy origin story. That's
Yeah, that's the very, very short version. But you know, it's a combination of just throwing yourself all into the passions that you have. You know, all my life I've, for whatever reason, been type of person. I'm either all in or nothing at all. Very much like rest in peace, Stubby's Fire Rising Rebellion. But yeah, so I guess, you know, just threw myself head first into card games all my life and just sort of found ways to create stuff. I'm naturally, I would say, a bit of a creative person. So whether I was making little videos on my Nokia 6120 in 1999 or just getting involved in things, I guess, you know, here's a bit of a life principle. People see the things that we do. So I suppose, you know, hanging out with someone off and on for 20 years, James would have kept a wee eye and like, oh yeah, that's how this guy operates. So a combination of, being very lucky, being very unlucky with the situation that I was in about a year and a half ago overseas, and just going hard at what you love, and then things sometimes, often, pop up, opportunities and things. Yeah, very, very fortunate and grateful for the position that I'm in.
Yeah, man. I can relate to that a lot. I am I like to describe myself as I'm not a casual person. If I'm into something, I'm all in. Like I go all in on it. So, yeah. I can relate. Yeah,
I
man.
think that's a good way to be. Everything, different contexts, different situations. But I think if you are doing something, the best way to get the best result out of it is to go hard. So
Yeah.
makes sense.
All right, man. That was sweet. Let's start off with the compiled list of questions. This is in no particular order, though it does start off with my own question.
Cool.
It is, and I will say, shout out to the community members who the questions come from.
Yeah.
So my question is, how important is it for Legend Story Studios to get a wide diversity of creators outside of video producers?
Yeah, that's such an important and awesome question. And one of the actually before you guys invited me to come and join you for Living Legends, I had in my mind basically a lot of the questions that we're about to go over today. I wanted to sort of address the content creator space of all of the creators, and we get a lot of questions, a lot of like clarification sort of stuff. So this is perfect. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
No, I just want to clarify. Outside of video producers, could you tell me a little bit more about the video producer definition part? I want to make sure I get it right.
I will clarify it as specifically YouTubers in regards to this question. So let's just say specifically YouTubers in this regard. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Now I get it. Yeah. So a wide diversity of creators outside of video producers. So not just and only the YouTube video type of things. Yeah. It's extremely important. And here we are on a non-video podcast. And, with LSS and the content creators, the program is not this type of, once you're in, we'll put your name on this thing and you're always going to receive something. It is this sort of database pool of submissions from content creators, and we don't sort of have a black and white list of these are our content creators or anything like that. So as far as I should probably be a bit more concise, shouldn't I? But the thing about this is as far as something like preview season goes, I'll apply this a little bit. Let's say it's a preview season. How important do we want not only these YouTube video type of things? It's massively important because there are so many sort of applications, uses, and purposes for the different types of content that is out there. As we sort of started to have a little chat earlier before the recording, you can be doing. I'm going to steal, I think it was what Az was saying before, actually. But you can apply something like an audio-only podcast to your, quote, day-to-day mundane sort of tasks, quote.
Yeah.
And wait, you said it better yourself. Was it Az that said this? You develop almost this type of platonic intimacy with the person speaking on the audio podcast. Was it something like that?
Yeah, I think we all chipped in, and I think I said that with a podcast, if you're doing your day-to-day life, like for me, for instance, I cycle to work each day, and I listen to podcasts in my ear. So that person or that podcast or that creator is ingrained in that sort of day-to-day commute almost, and it's the same with people driving their cars or on the subway or whatever you might be doing out there. It is an intimate space, and it can only really be explored by audio because you can't watch a video while you're riding your bike. You could, but it would be a very bad idea. So
challenging.
Yeah. So that's
and I think a lot of maybe this is something I'll talk about a little bit more at some point later on, but there's a few different categories of content out there. Of course, this video produced type of YouTube entertainment-y something to watch thing. There's the audio podcasts. I see very much there's this, don't quote me on this, anybody out there, almost, we see a lot of games being covered. Maybe it's gameplay videos for the sake of just playing a game education and showcasing. Maybe they're saying, oh yeah, here's a new deck or a strategy, or maybe they're saying something like, this is how you play this hero into another hero. That's a really cool type of content. Then you have something very, very similar. Maybe there's a store and they are simply streaming or recording some armory games. That's a very similar type of content, but it's also a little bit different at the same time. So I see these as almost different things. A little bit of video coverage of an armory, or here's another piece, showcasing some games possibly with a slight deck tech, another piece. These are, of course, produced videos, a lot of these types, but I think there are very many different and very subtly different types of content, and they all have many different purposes. I think it's very important for us to have the diversity of different types of content, basically because there's just so many purposes, which I won't go through now. Everyone has a different way to apply content in their life, and I get surprised all the time. People have these, interesting or new ways of the way that they consume the content. Watch parties, or maybe people just put on some box breaking videos in the background. That's another really calming, exciting thing. A lot of people like to just sit back after work, have a lovely cup of English breakfast, and watch some box breaks. But yeah, the short, long answer to that one is it's extremely important for us to not only have a wide diversity of the creators themselves, and we can go into that later, but also, we want many different types of content out there for people to consume, because it makes life more interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. All right, next question. This is coming from Az, and Az has a good number of questions here.
Nice.
The first one is, what is the best advice you can give anyone when they're just starting their content creation journey? I think this is something we talked about before we hit the record button, but
I think as well, it also sort of filters into what we was just saying there as well. Like, the content, that's out there is very diverse, as you were saying, Chris. So, is it, if you're starting out as a content creator, is it best to focus on one aspect, or is it better to maybe do a bit of everything? I think it ties into the last sort of chat we were having there. But yeah, that's definitely a question I think would be important to a lot of people out there listening to this at the moment.
Yeah, this is one of the best ones. And like I was saying, I was thinking, I'd love to give a little bit of sort of clarification out there for anyone that's looking to get into the content game. This is an awesome one. I wrote a few sort of notes on this, but I think, one of the biggest words that has been on my mind thinking about this conversation, this Living Legends today, is niche. The niche, the particular cornered part of the content creation world, picking something specific, picking something that makes you stand out, something that makes you sort of unique. Because as we know, and I saw a brilliant post on Facebook the other day from our friend Yazi in Australia. The year is 2026. Every single Flesh and Blood player has a channel, and we're getting there. We're getting there. There's a lot of Flesh and Blood content out there, and it's awesome. I think the way for up and coming, or future, or even current content creators, the way to stand out, the way to succeed, the way to get those likes, clicks, and subscribes, pick a niche. Maybe you are the person who talks about Azalea Ace in the Hole a lot. And yeah, that's a great niche. And I think, we've seen from Ethan Van Sant on the Mansant channel, picking a niche, and of course, in his case, Levia is that niche.
Yeah.
Once somebody sort of specializes in something, not to speak too redundantly, but it's really good. Once somebody really starts to focus on one thing, they learn more, they know more, they discover more. They really create incredible stuff about it. And you sometimes hear these little analogies of, if you do 5 things at 10% power, you're just doing 5 very average things. But if you do one thing at 100% power, you've got this incredibly strong vehicle. And I sort of see that if you have a channel and you're doing 5 different things and you're not putting all of the energy into all of those things, yeah, you're going to get a little bit return from each of them. But if you just go hard in a niche or a particular area, maybe you are the deck tech person, and then you're known for deck techs, and people expect deck techs, and people are, it just builds and it grows. You get momentum, you get lots of awesome things from picking a niche. I think that is probably the first and almost most significant. That's the one that comes to my mind the most, because once you get your niche, then you can really build everything else around that. When I was going for the old 7 days of Flesh and Blood back in the day, I was trying to do some type of, those like US sort of late night comedy, but weekly news shows, like Trevor Noah sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was going for something like that with some funny attempt at being funny interviews, sometimes a little bit of current event. So that was my sort of vibe. So I guess I was going for the interview niche. You've got people that focus on a hero only niche, and they could do interviews, deck text, gameplay inside of that niche. So you can build a niche very well, but like a lot of things in life, if you really pick one thing to focus on and build around that, I think that's the biggest and first piece of advice that I would give. Mm-hmm. Was there more on that question?
It's just advice on people starting their content creation journey.
Well, yeah. If you'd allow me, I've got a little bit more on that one. So yeah, pick a niche. We want to, you want to be uploading things that are, let's just keep in mind, there's just so many creators out there. If you search Flesh and Blood box break, you'll get a lot of different ones returned. Yeah. So let's get to the next sort of point on that one. When you're writing your descriptions for stuff, like a description on YouTube, that box with the characters in it, or the title. And the title is ridiculously important. The title is what the algorithms and the search engines are going to pick up on. So you're going to want short, sharp, concise, intriguing titles. So another thing with the title...
This is the part that I don't get, and probably a lot of people don't get either, is like YouTube algorithms and what you should or should not be doing with that, because that's something that a lot of us don't know about. So if there is extra bits that you can throw in as to how we can, get found easier, maybe that would be a good thing to touch on as well. You probably just about to touch on it, but I just thought I'd say.
Oh, no, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so like having a nice title is very important. And keep in mind, we don't completely understand the sort of YouTube search, or, even for myself, I do a lot of SEO or Google search engine optimization, little bits and pieces, but I don't completely understand it. I do understand that more specific, but simple at the same time, your title is, the easier it will be able to be searched. And when there's 12,000 box breaks out there at the same time, if you search Flesh and Blood Uprising box break, that's not enough. You want to be specific. You also want, I believe, sort of a consistent formatting of your titles and episodes, things like that. Very, very tiny, subtle things like capital letters or the lack of exclamation point, very, very small things will impact the viewer a lot. If you return some results of a few different deck techs, often people will click on the one with the most views if they don't know much about the videos. But I believe above that, people will click on ones with a eye-catching thumbnail. So it's the things like first impressions. If people are waiting through search results, if we're thinking of a user who's looking to find out content that we are producing, they're going to jump on the things that visually stand out, titles that stand out. And I think it's very, very important that a content creator is able to be searched and identified quite easily, because then people will see you, people will see your content. But the really, really big ones are post regularly and at a regular, consistent time, if you can. Then your viewers know that it's coming. They can get excited for it. They can rely and depend on it. Thumbnails, take 10 seconds to take a screenshot and put a cool little background or a nice font on top of that. Take the 10 seconds, make a thumbnail. When 98% of people are not making thumbnails, if you make a cool thumbnail, people will see it.
All part of the fun as well, making those little thumbnails.
Yeah, there's some pretty good thumbnail creators out there, and yeah, that's part of the fun. You can't go wrong with a you chop out the player's face, stick it on a card art, have a stupid title. That's basically that'll pretty much get you a preview card these days. Pretty much.
Well,
pretty much.
That actually leads into the next question that as asks, when considering creators for preview cards, are there any specific metrics you go by? Is there anything in particular that aspiring previewers should aim for? And then as puts in quotes, hint, hint, what do I need to do?
This is probably one of the most popular questions that I get, particularly through the inbox of my emails. If anyone's ever interested in anything about content creation, you can hit me up at creators with an S, creators at fabtcg.com. So I get a lot of these ones in. So when considering preview cards, are there any specific metrics? No, which can be quite difficult for people to digest a little bit sometimes. Yeah. So we don't have if you have 1,000 subscribers and you have 500 active views on each video, you're in. We don't have anything like that.
That's encouraging for a lot of people, though, I think. I think that is
encouraging or discouraging?
Encouraging. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got a few reasons why we don't have a fixed, black and white, objective, boring rubric. Because anything can happen out there, So, of course, we do look for people who have a large influence because we want a lot of eyes on particularly preview card products, We do look for a big subscriber or view count, often, not always. We do look for, again, those unique sort of niches. But let's go back to the preview stuff in particular is we build the preview season around a theme or an idea or a presentation. And in itself, and I tell you, I saw the Dynasty preview season run sheet for the first time this morning, just before I talked to y'all. So I can tell you, this upcoming Dynasty preview season is by far and away the most exciting, flavor and lore-wise. I'm seeing story coming to the fans through this upcoming preview season. So this preview season for Dynasty is so thematically and story-wise flavorful. We have so to tell the story that we want to tell with this preview season, we have chosen some particular cards, and to tell the story for the preview season, very much centered around the Emperor. Ooh. To tell this story, we are choosing particular cards from the set to tell the story. Once we choose the cards that bring the story to life, then we look for some probably very already well-established content creators and or figures in the community to tell this the best way. So perhaps there's a Azalea-based channel out there, and we have some type of amazing card that Azalea fans might like. We will look for that content creator or that channel, and we'll assign that card to them.
We don't have any Azalea fans in the chat right now.
No one likes Azalea here.
Nobody does. There's no cult following or anything. There's nothing. Don't worry.
That's a shame, because as we've got some extremely exciting. Oh, is that right? We had something really exciting in mind for the Cult of Azalea this upcoming
Oh,
preview
don't
season.
do this to me.
Are you sure that you're not a fan of Azalea? Are you sure?
Oh my god.
Oh no, we just screwed Az out of his first preview card. No.
Oh no.
Well,
Shit.
sure we can do
There's
that.
any time to swear, it's now.
Yeah, so part of your question was, what do I need to do? Well, as your first preview card is coming, so thank you for doing all of these incredible things that you've done, which are post consistently, post regularly, have interesting, useful, educational content, not just the same content as many others without the thumbnails, without the interesting stuff. So your first preview card is coming very soon, and it is going to blow the roof
Oh man!
off the Imperial
Yo.
Palace.
If
It's a
you
good one.
could see me now, I'm literally a bit of a wreck, to be honest.
Dude,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
go.
sure you're looking very good.
Oh, cheers, mate. I literally just Oh, brilliant! Thank you.
We did
Hey,
it.
thank you.
We did
And
it,
part of
boys.
that that question's so good because it's. I want to touch more on it because it says, what could or what should aspiring previewers aim for? The answer for that, my friends, is they should not aim for a preview card. What does that mean? That means the idea, some people, like I said, I get a lot of emails, particularly about preview cards, particularly around previous season time. Oh, here's a news flash for everybody. The previous season has basically almost been confirmed with the partners. I haven't reached out to anybody yet. So I love receiving everybody's emails requesting preview cards, but just so everyone knows, most of the partners have been sort of assigned at the moment. But let's go just a little bit more before it's going into the third hour of this podcast. What should they aim for if they want a preview card? Very kindly, they shouldn't. The idea with the preview cards is, of course, very selfishly, we want to tell the story of our next upcoming product. And it just so happens to be that there are creators out there who are excited, passionate, and often quite happy to help us tell that story. So I see the previous season and the creators who do share those cards, I see that as a really nice possible opportunity that might come up rather than a goal to aspire to, because it's not, there's no, like we say, there's no rubric. It's not when you get 10,000 subscribers you will get the thing. So it's something, the idea, the vision with all of this content creation stuff is you're passionate about creating content because you love it, not because you're looking for a reward or something. And
Exactly.
those who are doing it for the...
Sorry, I was just going to say, it goes back as well to literally the last point we were speaking about the niche and about finding what you want to do in your space. And when the opportunity comes around to you, if you guys notice that, for whatever reason, I'm referencing myself here, if I'm focusing on Azalea and what she can do, when there's a good card that, fits into that, we're in the right place for it. And I think it is a good, a good way to do it, because you're just going with what's coming and what people are passionate about and focusing on, I guess, which goes into all the previous points you've said. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it is really cool. We if someone's really, really making passionate content about a particular class, then they're going to have, much more understanding, a much more maybe a bit of a following, but yeah, they're going to really do justice to, that new Ranger card if they're all day, every day, just Ranger stuff. So it kind of makes sense. You have people promote or share things that they are genuinely passionate about. That's what we aim for most of the times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic.
This is kind of going on to that a little bit. What do you feel is the best type of content for growing the game? And examples include gameplay, streams, unboxing, speculation videos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. Sorry, growing the game or growing Simpsons their own channel?
It was worded as growing the game.
The best type of content for, let's say, growing the game in general. Well, okay, I think this is the best answer for this one. Growing the game content, probably things like your recent video that you released, how to start playing FAB, more about that sort of ongoing and product understanding and acquiring journey. I think one of the best ways to grow the game of Flesh and Blood would be introductory or educational at almost an introduction level type of level. Too early, I'm not going to find another word. I think introduction type stuff would be best for growing the game. But I think if someone wanted to grow their own channel very quickly and massively, which type of content you could probably choose? You could probably go for a lifestyle documentary type thing like Fabled Academy. That's a niche. You could go for a exciting, conversational, interactive box break focus, like one of the new breakout creators, X Flesh and Blood X. Whatever type of niche you choose, that can be the best for growing your channel if you have the thumbnails, the titles, regular posting. One thing I didn't say earlier is share. And I'm not speaking Chinese language here. I'm saying share it to YouTube, share it to TikTok, share it to Spotify. Everywhere you can. When you make a video, share it everywhere. And then hopefully other people are going to share. I'm blending lots of questions and ideas into the other ones, but it sounds very simple. If people don't know your content's out there, it might be hard for them to find. And I get a lot of awesome applications. And I look through every single application that I receive through our channels. And sometimes there's about 4 subscribers on a channel. And everyone has to start somewhere. But 4 is a very interesting number for me because it's almost as if it has not been pushed, promoted, and shared to the creators' friends in their current friend circle. I believe everyone has at least 5 friends, probably, if they're playing trading card games.
Yeah.
Get your friends to like it. Get your friends to share it. And a big one in videos, the question was to help a person grow their own content channel. Call to action is a really big thing. Hey guys, leave a comment, or what's your favorite type of hero? A call to action, get people involved and interacting with your channel in your niche with regular uploads, thumbnails, and impactful titles. That will grow your channel. Basically, being regular, just spam it. Just spam content all day, every day, and you'll be at the top of the game.
Yeah, I'd like to add on one thing that if you make very sensationalized and clickbaity videos often, you will probably get more views, but I've found that you might not get a lot of subscribers and a lot of regular viewers that way. You'll see some channels that have 500 subs, but their videos get 2,000 views, and that's because they're all clickbait drama stuff, and no one wants to stick around. They just want to hear what the drama is, and then they bail. So
exactly, yeah. And that's another really interesting part about the metrics and the way that channels could be measured. Is like you're just saying, you could have massive views on a video but no subs. And so we don't have anything fixed in place like that because we understand that things exactly like this. And of course, on that note, if someone's dropping the most exaggerated, hyperbolized clickbait titles, the fans very quickly and very easily see through disingenuousness and whether or not a person is sincere or passionate about the content that they're making, and they very, very quickly drop off or not even subscribe at all, like you said, Cal. Yeah. Sincerity is a big key, I think.
100%. That's I think a core part of content creation in general. Just do what you love. I know it's a really easy thing to say, but it sounds
so simple, but it's profound. Yeah.
Yeah, like people will latch on to your passion if you're like genuine about it, and yeah. Along with that, I guess not really, but a little bit. This is a terrible segue, but what content is missing from the sphere that you and LSS might want to see?
It's a good one. And there was a space which I was like, oh, I think someone could really grab this little niche. Again, we're going back to the niche of a specialized,
It's all about
explicit, specific type of thing. Recently, until Saint and Yuanji from Fabled Hunters.
Yes.
There's a lot of Fableds out there. Until Saint and Yuanji recently did their, what's the name? They did a monthly roundup of current events, basically current events that are happening in the FAB world. Until they did that, that was a space that I thought, yep, someone could do that. That was kind of like, when I had my old 7 days one. Recently, I was thinking, maybe I could do a weekly recap. Very much like most Fridays on fabtcg.com, I try to do an article called What's the Latest? And I just consolidate all of the week's updates, articles, and information into one thing. I thought that would be a great thing. Someone just does a weekly recap thing. You can hear all the gossip out there, you hear all the updates, So I can't answer your question with that one, but shout out to Saint and Yuanji for creating that really cool sort of monthly recap thing. Other spaces that are missing. With my job and with anything that I'm sort of trying to learn more about, I often look at an example model. And so when I'm thinking about the content stuff for my role, I look at, some of the other big gaming companies out there and see what's happening in those spaces. A bit of inspiration, a bit of knowledge and understanding. Nothing really jumps out to me in particular right now, but a space that does exist which could have a bit more of ultimate pit fight stuff, commoner. If someone out there, here's a challenge, someone out there, if you're listening, make a commoner channel that's all commoner all the time, and you'll get every single commoner fan on the planet. So there's one.
That's true.
What's that? That's a niche.
Yeah, I agree. I love Commoner and Ultimate Pit Fight, and at the beginning of the year,
I love it because it's broken.
Well, yeah. But I mean, it's a lot of fun, and Ultimate Pit Fight in particular, you can have like these really fun, games with friends, and both of those formats were formats that I tweeted about at the beginning of the year. I was like, hey, I think these are going to be really important because these are where a lot of like casual players could flock to, and I think the casual crowd is always bigger than the competitive crowd in card games, and I think that's where a lot of the player base will end up being in Flesh and Blood, and I figured that, hey, like, this is an area that I personally want to focus on, and I agree with what you said, that I think it's an area that other people can focus on if they're really into it.
Yeah, and here's another interesting point. I think it has been in my brain for a while, but you just woke it up now, is... Of course, there are many, many different types of Flesh and Blood fans. Maybe someone only plays UPF ever and they don't even have a gem account. There's lots of different types of fans out there, and probably more casual fans consume more content. This is just a random guess from me.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about here is, if possibly a vast majority of the Flesh and Blood content online is competitive type stuff, but only a small percentage of the Flesh and Blood player base is actually those super competitive players, how relevant is the content that I'm making if I'm selling it to only competitive players? I'm probably only getting a small part of the complete Flesh and Blood fan base.
Yeah.
When we're seeing events and lots of content from top players and really competitive stuff, our perception might be that there's lots and lots of competitive stuff out there. However, that probably is the smallest part of the player base. So if a person's wanting to make successful, highly viewed content, I believe there's probably a much larger audience out there for the casual players than the competitive stuff. So
Yeah.
maybe, possibly, there's a bigger opportunity for growth in the casual flesh and blood space, not so much the cutthroat competitor.
Yeah.
That came to mind just now.
Yeah, you're touching a bit on the secret sauce, secret sauce here. I think a good chunk of my content, every time I make a video, I always think, who is the audience for this video? And a lot of the times for my videos are the more casual, the newer audience, that kind of stuff. Because I feel, at least for Flesh and Blood, there's a lot of great content out there for competitive folks already. You have like your Arsenal Pass, you have your DM Ramada, who focus on the meta game and like the really competitive stuff. But like you said, I think there's a huge audience for more casual stuff. People who just want like to see like fun things, or like really like low barrier of entry product, like decks like Commoner and that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's something that I personally think about a lot, and that I focus on a lot for a lot of my videos. And
yeah, that's a very, very, very important. Like, again, if it was maybe top 3 things to keep in mind as a content creator, what you just said, Cal, who is my audience? Yeah. And think deeply on that one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I personally, partially because it's my job, but I think a lot about that kind of stuff, and I watch a lot of interviews and stuff from other very, very successful content creators. We're talking like million subscriber content creators, about how they became big and like what they do. And basically a lot of the stuff we've talked about. But yeah, it's just stuff to think about, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. Look at successful ones that maybe us as a content creator, we like their style, or we like something they do. Look at them, model, don't copy and steal, but model a little bit after them, and maybe you'll get on that trajectory to where the big dogs are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not directed at you, Cal. You are the big dog. Yeah. We're the ones. Roman Reigns, shout out. I acknowledge you, my tribal chief. Anyway.
Yeah.
Great question. Not time for wrestling talk yet. We'll save that for later.
Yeah, well, we could talk about wrestling at the end, for sure. All right, so next question comes from Dead Summer, or Dead Summer Art, as some people know him. He says, how was the experience of starting out as a content creator and then being hired by the creators of the game you were making content for? And then he asked about what the story behind it. We already talked about a little bit. But if you'd like to elaborate a bit on it, here's the...
Yeah, well, Dead Summer Art here, talking... This is another Kale. This Kale's from Australia. And hello, Kale. Thank you so much for your awesome question and awesome words. Kale has this incredible, check out Kale's channel, Dead Summer, or Dead Summer Art on YouTube. Basically, Dead Summer is one of our very dependable, passionate, deep diving lore, particularly Lord Sutcliffe, pals. And I love working and talking and communicating with Dead Summer because they really, really... They have such, they got the artist's struggle. They want to make the best possible content. The music must be perfect. The angle, the shot, the speed of the zoom in, the words, the voice. They want beyond the best for themselves and the content that they create. We love people with passion, but just remember, everyone out there, once you put too much pressure on yourself, then things might stop being fun. So one of the keys, one of the core tenets is, of course, keep having fun. Anyway, Dead Summer is a master of storytelling and Lord Sutcliffe, and lots of awesome type of lore previews. Just so everyone knows, go and check out their work. The really cool question, we talked a little bit about me getting the job, but my experience starting out, I think, my experience was, I started playing Flesh and Blood, October 2019 or something, and I have this insatiable hunger to create. This is how I am. So when I started playing the game, I just wanted to tell everyone, I wanted to show everyone, and I wanted to make stupid jokes. I wanted to have fun. So me and my friend Sam and a couple other friends, we just started making stuff, and as everyone here in the chat knows, it's a good feeling when you get some nice likes, clicks, and positive comments. So I started making more and more and more. My experience starting as a content creator for Flesh and Blood stuff was just, I just can't get enough of this game and the world, and I want to interact with people. So it was just a passion project that kept going and going, and it's just fun. I just like talking with people, sharing exciting stuff. So yeah, my experience was very, very fun, and the itch to create content is becoming more and more prevalent every day in me.
Yeah. I would also like to give a shout out to Dead Summer Art. I think that some people know about this, but not a lot of people know about this. We're going to be doing a tabletop RPG session set in the world of Wraith, and Dead Summer Art is going to be our DM. And by we, I mean myself, Bill as Miss Chalice, and is that the whole crew?
It is, yeah.
I think that's the whole crew.
Wow, that is awesome. And that's another one of those, what type of space needs a little bit more on? Is it oh wow, D&D sort of thing? Yeah, so like even twists on Flesh and Blood stuff. It's something Flesh and Blood centric, but it's new, like this amazing initiative you've just described. Yeah, that's again something brand new. I'm fiending to watch it already.
Yeah, we.
What better person to do it than DM Dead Summer as well?
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, I wanted to do this for a while, and then I was just like, you know what, let's just do it. And I made a tweet, tagged some people that I think would be awesome for it, and everyone agreed. So when we have time, we're gonna do it. No promises to when this comes out, but yeah, this is something that I'm really looking forward to. I think it's gonna be sweet. Most of us have made all of our characters already, and
oh man,
I think Dead Summer has a plot idea already. So
I bet he does. Yeah, it'll be about 5,000 pages long. Oh, that'll be so good. But I got to jump in with another. Wait, we need like a little pop up. I know there's no video. Key point. Cal just said, just do it. Just do it. Don't wait for the perfect idea or the perfect interview guest or the perfect angle of the. We'll try and get a nice camera angle, but just do it. That is the biggest barrier for a lot of different types of success for many people in many spaces is just not doing it. Just get the camera out, film something, get it up there. Just do it, and then the momentum starts. The hardest part with so many things is just starting. So just do it. Nice one, Cal.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those really easy things that it's easier said than done, but I agree. Like, yeah, just do it, and then also like stick with it. Like, do it, and then keep doing it, because everyone who is successful on YouTube stuck with it. Like, and I'll use like myself and a good friend of mine, DM Armada. Like, he and I have been making content since like 2016, 2015. And we definitely didn't start out like with gangbuster numbers. We just kept doing it because we loved making videos about card games, and just stick with it. Like, you're not gonna immediately get views. Maybe you will, but most people won't. And the folks who stick with it are the people who are successful. So
yeah, and people don't want to hear it, but it's not easy, and it does not happen overnight. And a lot of the times it is not fun. The end result is fun, but sometimes the editing and the writing and the planning and the thumbnailing can be very, very exhausting. But if those who have the passion and the patience and the grit, they stick at it, they're going to see amazing things.
Yeah. There are many times where I was like, come home from work, and it's like, I can do two things, right? I have a little bit of time. I could either play that new video game that I bought or work on my channel. And almost every single time I'm like, I'm just going to work on my channel. And so you kind of have to make sacrifices like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do. Speaking of sacrifices, I have to go to the bathroom for 1 minute.
No worries.
BRB. Sorry.
So we're back. We have another question, this time from a very well-known figure in the Flesh and Blood community, Cale McCreath. He asks, I'd like to know what he misses most about the competitive scene. He says, also, an addendum to that, working for LSS, he's no longer allowed to compete. And then also you have some secret Benji sauce or something like that.
Oh, damn right I do. But after the next 5 minutes, it won't be so secret anymore. This is such a great question from one of my best friends of all time, Kale. So thank you so much for these awesome questions. They kind of all connected well. It's really good. So the first part of this is I play a lot of more aggressive than the typical aggressive deck type of decks. So that's what I've been doing often since I've started playing Flesh and Blood.
My man.
In Magic and other games, I often played the old draw go control decks where you just do nothing and try and deck them out, fatigue them. So these days, I'm playing like just the most aggressive decks possible. And the first part of Carol's question says, what do I miss the most about the competitive scene? Wow, the people. And of course, playing at competitive levels, but the people. And last weekend, we had Battleheart in Auckland. And people came from all around the country to play in the Battleheart, and a couple of people from Australia, including Flukenbox, John Warden. So I got to hang out with him over the weekend. That was cool. But during the Battle Hardened, I got to see people I hadn't seen for years. I played in the skirmish, which was on the Sunday, but I didn't play in the Battle Hardened. And it's just the catching up in between the rounds. Oh, tell me about your bad beats and how you totally high rolled and top decked this to blow out and win the unwinnable thing. The things I miss the most are I do miss like those hardcore testing sessions going into a tournament, because I love to test every option, including the weirdest possible options. I like the idea of running heroes through the gauntlet, practicing all of those sideboard games or those pre-board games that you might not do when you're testing at the kitchen table. I love the deep diving into the testing aspects and just studying like an animal. Not that many animals study, but studying like a freak before a big event, and then seeing the results of your hard work, which sometimes works, but sometimes doesn't. But the people, and last weekend at that Battle Hardened, I was hanging out with people I hadn't seen for maybe 5 years, something like that. Had a really awesome time with the skirmish winner, Dr. Daniel Mackay from New Zealand. He ripped it up with Kano, and he and I, Dan, Hayden Dale, and I used to hang out in Christchurch and play a lot of Magic. And man, it was nice to see Dan last weekend, and it took me back to when we were 10 years ago, us three hanging out and just being absolute buffoons at events, having fun, staying up till 2 a.m., being exhausted as hell, getting up at 6, playing the tournament with your eyes feeling like they're about to fall out of your face. I just miss everything, man. Like the competitive stuff. I'm a cutthroat competitive player at heart. And I guess, it's the idea of being able to play in those top 8 cuts and having those little mini rivalries and really cool stuff. I'd probably go on for too long if I talked about all the things that I miss about the competitive scene.
What's the cutoff point for you being allowed to compete in events as a LSS member?
I actually don't know. I guess it's something like, I'm not even sure if it might be different from me, who knows like almost nothing about development stuff until previews, versus a game developer. I'm not sure what sort of cutoff thing, because those guys know the next few sets sort of thing. I'm not sure. Those cutoffs and those sort of dates when you're allowed to play and things like that. But man, I miss so much about the competitive scene. I've never won like a big event. I was always that dude that somehow managed to hang out with all the top guys but not actually be one myself. I don't know how that happened, but thank you to everyone over the years who's put up with me. But I just miss everything about the competitive scene. I always joke, or I get like so excited, like, oh my god, it's skirmish this weekend, are you guys hyped? And they're like, yeah, but I just did ProQuest and Road to Nats and I'm like, this is my biggest event of the year. So, I just miss playing, because I'll work at my job all day, and then I'll come home, and then I'll play Blitz at the kitchen table with maybe my flatmate CJ, who's one of the calling champions from the Uprising World Premiere season. So I get to play with calling champ at home. We finish work and play another 4 or 5 hours. My friend Sam, who helped me make the old 7 Days of Flesh and Blood channel, we'll play for 5 or 6. I just can't get enough. So it would be cool if I could apply all those games I'm playing anyway, to a tournament where I could pick up a nice extended up gold cold Crown of Providence. But
Nice.
yeah, a lot of things. And the Benji source, I absolutely love Benji because he changes the rules of the game for the opponent, changes what attacks mean, what blocking means. It really messes up a lot of people's strategies. And I just love drawing like 5 to 10 cards off Spring Tiding. I was playing this all-in OTK style deck that if you take 16 damage and go to 1, you will basically always win. It was this real OTK deck. You basically need one of any of the 3 pieces, whether it's a Spring Tidings, a Rapid Reflex Red, or a Razor Reflex, and then you can basically get through any armor, any blocks. But then Fi came out, and Fi's very aggressive in the face of a deck that's trying to OTK someone. So I changed up my strategy because I said I'm not moving off Benji, even though I might be for the next skirmish event. I said I'm not moving off Benji. I love the hero. I love the play style. I love the story and the meaning behind the character. And so I tried to make this 20 defense reaction Benji Duko deck where I just chip away and inevitably win. But then I realized that it's just a strictly worse Bravo deck. So yeah, there's no Benji secret sauce. So there you go.
Yeah. Well,
OTK is probably the best version of it, I think. Vipox, what?
dude, yeah.
Oh,
Vipox is gross. Gross and Benji.
I
love it.
absolutely adore Vipox. I do want to say that when I was playing Benji, that was basically the version of the deck that I was playing. And the first time I brought it to a local event, I think I was able to draw... In 2 of the games, I got 2 Spring Tidings off. And I think in the first one, I was able to draw 13 cards. In the other one, I was able to draw like 15 or 16.
What?
Which felt pretty disgusting.
Times worth it, eh?
Yeah.
And us Rangers are sitting here drawing 3 from 3 of a kind, and then we can't play stuff from our hands.
Yeah, a little bit different, but yeah, as soon as I saw Vipox, I was like, man, I want to slap that in Benji. The only time that I've ever actually gotten to play it, though, is I have this spicy Blitz Prism deck that has to do with Transmogrify and what's that other one? Basically the buff cards that turn your next card into an illusionist attack, so that they have go again from Luminaris, as well as then you can fractal replication them.
Like Phantasmify?
Yeah, Phantasmify, Transmogrify, and Veiled Intentions is the third one that I'm thinking of. And being able to give Vipox 8 base power and then do it again with fractal replication is pretty sick.
I love it. I think maybe I've got to go down into the Batcave and come up with just build the whole thing around Vipox. Is there a way we can get another 5 cards in their hand? That would be cool.
I mean, this round's on me gives them an additional card.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah. But then we attack them for 0. That's no... Oh, come in for 0, hit them with a cheeky Razor Reflex, and take 29. That sounds good to me.
Boom. Done. Easy game.
I love it.
Shout out to Chris Sayers. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, nice. The tall Timmy asks, I'd like to know more about his no block strategy. I assume he's talking about you, Chris, and not me, because that's also my strategy.
Oh, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to make a bit of a name for myself, championing the no block strategy, particularly with Blossom of Spring, Stubby Hammers, Stubby Hammerers 5. So when I first saw when I first publicly saw Fi, I was like, oh, cool. An extremely aggressive ninja that wants to be aggressive and do aggressive things. And then I was shocked, taken back, and flabbergasted by the behavior of some people out there. They were coming in with Kodachis, and they were playing all these sink belows, and I was losing it. I was like, what's going on with all these? Because I'm a big ninja player. I love playing these super aggressive decks. Oh, I was going to say a little bit before about the Kale thing. And this tool to me, no blocks. Question is, one big reason why I play hyper aggressive decks these days is because I don't test 10 different decks into a gauntlet for a tournament. So now I'm just, okay, I'll just play aggro decks and not spend time testing. And so I'm really passionate about One way that I see a lot of decks is heroes. I don't see like 20 different heroes. I see a few different archetypes or strategies. And so if one hero is more aggressive than another hero, that other hero might not exist in my mind. So if one hero is doing something better than the other one, I'll just look at that one. So I saw Fire come out, and I was like, okay, this is very, very aggressive. Let's make the most of the way that we're being guided here. And that's very often a good sign of how to make the best version of a hero, is follow the hints from the devs. Not always, but most of the time. And so I was like, cool, let's make this deck as aggressive as I possibly can. So I made a very, very aggressive deck, which was designed to, of course, deal more damage the less that you block. And then I saw people playing Fi doing the old attack for one or two things, and then defend with a few cards. And basically, I'm just like, team, what are you doing? The less, the more you block, the less you can attack. And if you want to be blocking a lot with a deck, I was just like, why are you playing Fire, the aggro ninja? So yeah, knowing more about the no block strategy is the more you block, the less you can attack. If you're not attacking heaps with a Fire ninja deck, what are you doing? So yeah, shout out to Tall Timmy and friends with the amazing Skirmish Season 5 Gauntlet Blitz series, which we've seen recently. Next video coming up Tuesday, New Zealand time, from Tall Timmy and friends, and it is going to be a brutal one. So thanks for that question, Timmy, and thanks for your awesome work on the series.
Yeah, blocking is for cowards and guardians, in my opinion.
Basically. Are they the same thing? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shots fired.
You heard it here first.
Like Guardians.
Yeah. All right, this one is it comes from Liert or Lighert. They ask, these come in a tandem of, what do you think you and LSS do especially well regarding community? And then on top of that, what hints by the community about avenues that could be improved would you say were especially helpful to you? That question's a little confusingly worded, but what do you
got
think?
it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Let's do the second question first.
Yeah.
Community hints that could be improved, which were helpful. Now, I don't want this to come out the wrong way. We at LSS know that there are many, many things that we want to do and produce and engage in. There's so many things that we want to do and are planning to do, which just aren't happening yet. So there are things like, we know that we should be giving a little bit more time for big events, letting people know so they can plan and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like on our radar, working as hard and fast as we can to sort of improve that stuff. There's a lot of details that go into events and getting all the information out there. So that's something that we know that we can improve. So with all the kindness in the world, if people tell us that, of course, that's not especially helpful because we are already aware of that. So I'm thinking about this question. What are things that we've been sort of alerted to by the community, which are very, very helpful? For me, my head is very much in the content sort of side of things, so I'll look at that space for this question. I think the biggest thing that jumps out is people were wanting some clarification, some information about content stuff, and that's very helpful. And it's very helpful that you have asked me to join you for a few tips and tricks and conversations today. I think the biggest thing community has brought up, which has been helpful, is, hey, we need a little bit more info and clarification on this content stuff. So hopefully today's chat helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the first part of that question, what do we do especially well with community? I would hope to think that we do engagement through conversations, through listening to the fans. I really believe that I hope that we listen to the fans and that we act on the good and necessary and positive changes requested from the community. Things like taking accountability for things that we have done which didn't originally go to plan as much as we would have liked. Things like cards that might have been banned before time, or there were some challenges with the history pack label translations. We were very, very grateful and fortunate to have some superstars of the community help us with things that we needed to improve on with that. We worked with some of the black label, we worked with Arc/Pietro Giletti, the Italian national champion. He helped us immensely with communications to the Italian community, and that's the same with Alex from Fabled Academy for Germany, Pedro Canale. Shout out to Loire de Fidia. They helped us a lot with the French, and of course, we had one of our amazing employees who lives in Spain help us a lot with the Spanish, and we had the first ever Pro Tour champion, Pablo Pintor, help us with a lot of bits and pieces, communication. So that's more about like what you guys do especially well rather than us. But we're very fortunate for hopefully the great relationships that we've fostered with key members of the community and the community itself, that people want to interact and collaborate with us to help us improve on things. So I think hopefully communication is something that we do quite well with the fans, and something we always, one of our core tenets is continuous improvement. So it's something that we're always wanting to do better at. But I'm hoping to say communication, listening, and having a dialogue with the fans rather than this is how it is, get good.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree, just as somebody who is part of the community. Like, obviously there will be, issues with communication at any scale, really, but especially considering the incredible growth that Flesh and Blood has seen over the past, 2 years. Keeping up with a community of this size is always going to be really difficult, but I think that LSS has done a really, really excellent job, considering, as I said, the circumstances. Making sure that they're listening to the community and not, sweeping things under the rug. I have some amount of preconceived notions when it comes to large companies, especially for, large hobbies in the gaming space, that I've seen them fumble the ball pretty hard. But LSS, every time I see something like come out from either a community standpoint or just from a game design standpoint, it's always very well both intentioned and notated, so that you can see as a consumer of the game where these decisions actually came from and what the reasoning behind it was, which the level of transparency is pretty unprecedented. So yeah, it's like there will always be issues, and I think that focusing on the issues is never going to be a really, really solid way of getting them fixed, but also ignoring them is even worse. So the fact that you guys have a pulse on a finger on the pulse of the community is a very excellent and very satisfying thing to hear.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that transparency word really, really stands out, because we know that there are many, many, many passionate and curious eyes on every single part of what we do. So, we know that, we can't run and hide or put something under the rug, because the truth always comes out for everything. So, we aim to be transparent, genuine, and take accountability and responsibility for things, and just try and get better and improve every day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We have 4 more questions. So let's. There's some of them that we've already touched on a little bit. So let's rapid fire these, and then we can get onto the Arsenal step here. Next one comes from Tommy Fresh, and we've touched upon this one a little bit. He asks, "What are your thoughts on audio
content?" Is this
content?
Tommy Fresh and Buds?
Yes.
Fresh and Buds podcast, is it? Oh, hello, Tommy. Thank you.
Yeah, he's a pretty nice dude. I had dinner with him a couple times, I think, throughout the competitive season at various callings and whatnot. Nice guy.
Awesome.
But what are your thoughts on audio content in this video content dominated space?
Yeah, great question. And as I say, it's something we chatted about a little earlier. The audio content. Here's something I should say. There is no one medium or form of content that has more weight or value than others, for the record. So, if someone's out there doing audio-only podcasts and that's their only content, versus someone that is doing videos on YouTube, one is not worth more or more valuable than the other from our perspective. Everyone is just equal opportunity for whatever opportunities come. And like we said earlier, that audio content so useful, and that's another key word for today. What is this? Some type of lecture? Useful stuff, because you can listen to audio and you can go about your day, and that can be part of your day, part of your routine, part of the things that you love. And audio is very, very valuable, super important. And it will be more important to one person than it is to another. And we want everybody to have something that is important to them. So, Tommy, very, very important.
Agreed. Next question comes from Pat Smashgood. Pat asks, or they say, LSS has done a great job utilizing content creators throughout the space in a variety of roles as FAB has grown. What are your plans to grow this utilization into the next sets and into 2023? And I think this is one that we already kind of touched a little bit on when we talked about the Dynasty spoiler season, but
Yeah, well, of course, we've got lots of plans and ideas for the future, some more concrete than others. Lots of really cool things. Plans to grow this utilization with content creators. Well, so we've done, and we will continue to do, the content creator appreciation kits. And of course, we've had things like, was it Herald of Rebirth? And what was the one before that? Herald of Protection?
Herald of Protection and then Herald of Rebirth, yeah.
Yeah, so those extended art. And those promos were, the only way to get those was through a content creator in one way or another. With the content creator appreciation kits, those are kind of, literally that. Just a wee, thank you for creating content that you've just simply wanting to create out of your own passions with no desire for a particular reward, and then hey, we'll give you this thing, help you grow your channel. So that's something where we gave out the promos. We said hopefully this can grow your channel, and we've given that to sort of smaller creators, up and coming ones that we can see have the passion, the momentum, the consistency, and we want to give them hopefully some type of bit of a leg up. We've got a little bit of a twist on the next version of the Content Creator Appreciation Kit.
Ooh.
So that is something that we will be doing in 2023. And let's just say content creators will have something very, very special that no other type of FAB community member will have access to in 2022. There's something very, very exciting.
Now I gotta know.
Oh wow, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in 2023. We'll see. We'll run your numbers, Cal, and see if you qualify.
Okay.
But some very, very exciting plans to continue the collaborations with content creators. Because I haven't said so already. Thank you so much to every single content creator out there. If you've got 100,000 subs or 10, thank you so much, because you guys are spreading the good word of Flesh and Blood around the world, getting new eyes and new fans. So thank you so much for that, everybody. And we want to say thanks for that. We're not saying we've got these awesome cards, we want you to have a competition between yourselves to try and get this. No, but thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. And we're going to continue the collaborations and the community-driven content stuff, and just make it bigger and better, more interactive, more collaborative, and hopefully we just see the content creators grow, the content creation space grow, and ultimately Flesh and Blood will keep growing if we're lucky.
Oh yeah, I think it will. I think it will for sure. Hey man, I've got my fingers crossed. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store, regardless of whether my numbers are good or not.
I reckon your numbers are pretty good.
Yeah, they're fine. All right, the next one. This is another question that we've talked about a little bit already. This comes from Capolo.
Cool.
What should content creators do in order to get noticed by LSS besides applying as a content creator on the FAB profile page?
You should track down my Instagram and spam me constantly. No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
I would say Okay, so yeah, Coppola sort of talks about the applying to be a content creator on the FAB profile page. So if people don't know, when you log into fabtcg.com, if you go to fabtcg.com website and then you log yourself in with your gem number, on the top right hand of the side it says content creator register or apply or something for the content creator, something like that. The wording kind of relevant and important, but kind of not. Anyway, there's a button you can press. Just so everybody knows, once you click and submit your information on that button, I will read it, and I will read every single application one by one in a holistic case-by-case way, so that, if some random new content creator who's just absolutely making the most crazy, mind-blowing content, I'll read that stuff. And when people apply through that, it does not mean that once you've applied, you are in our system and you will get a preview card. It does not mean that you're in the system and that means you will receive a kit. All that button does is put you in our database, put you in our pool so that I can find your email, your gem number, your description about your channel. And when those time comes for the collaborations, or, oh, I've got 20 content creator appreciation kits, I'm going to find the 20 most relevant. So just so everyone knows, that button on the page will put you in the pool, put your information and your data in the pool so I can read through it and work with the team to assign possible collaborations at one day. So just so everyone knows, as we've said a few times, there's no exact rule, no exact rubric. Myself, James, and a few others will go through a lot of these sort of applications and some of the larger or more impactful channels, and from there, that's how the collaborations and things like that will be done. But the question again was, apart from this application, what can I do to get noticed? Just make mind-blowing content, get the thumbnails, because I'm on YouTube and Facebook all day, in between other stuff, just looking around, stuff that pops up. And I think that a real big indication of successful content is when people are sharing your stuff without you asking. Like the other day, 1-2 Juice from Malaysia with was it 11 types of players? That shit was hilarious. And even their camera angles and their music and their visuals and their pop-up, they had all of that stuff. But even if they didn't, the content was funny enough that people were just sharing it around. So sometimes you can have this little micro black swan event where you've just created this unique, incredible video. So maybe I just could say incredible quality, make some high quality stuff. But there's probably not too much to sort of quote unquote get noticed outside of that thing. You could email through, but of course every application sends me an automatic email and something like that. So if you click that button, I will get it every single time. Outside of that, I would just keep sharing your high quality, regular, consistent content as often and as frequently as you can, really.
Yeah.
A bit of a weak answer, sorry.
I like to give another shout out to 1-2 Juice. I think they're one of the most underrated Flesh and Blood channels out there. They do awesome.
Well, and shout out to, I'm so sorry I forgot their name right now, but one of the gentlemen of the 1-2 Juice team just won their first Road to Nash. Oh wait, skirmish? Must be a skirmish. Yes. So congratulations to one of the two gentlemen from 1-2 Juice for winning. So you can probably see that little anecdote on Facebook somewhere. But yeah, good work. Sorry, Cal, where were we?
No, I just wanted to say they're great. They do a lot of content that you were actually talking about. They do a lot of different content, more niche content. They're more on this sketch comedy side of things, which is very untapped in the Flesh and Blood community.
Hard to do, but if you can do it like Tall Timmy or 1-2 Juice, you're going to make a lot of fans very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And they've only got don't quote me, but less than 2,000 subs, I think. Like I said, I think they're one of the more underrated channels out there. So if you don't know who they are, you should definitely check them out. if you're watching or listening.
Challenge: get 1-2 juice to 1,000 subs before Friday, team. Let's go!
I'll have to go check to see however many they are. If they are already above 1K, get them to the next K, right? So if they're at like 1.2, get them to 2K. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then final question before we move on to the Arsenal step and just talk about a lot of random stuff. We have Pascal asks, do you think there are too many Fab creators on social media?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So of course, the real answer is no. You can never have too many of something if it's good. But however, as we've spoken a couple of times, if you're putting up a box break video and it says uprising box break, there's probably a lot of that out there already. So be different, stand out. There's no such thing as too many flesh and blood creators, as we know. In 2026, every player will have their own channel. And that was a joke. Shout out, Yazoo. And so there's no such thing as too many, but I would encourage people. It's cool to I think there's this little tiny split here. I see content where it's something that has been originally created and produced, and then there's also mini sharing or mini vlogging. Very subtle, and maybe it's just a difference that I see. But I'll see someone like, oh hey, I'm opening 3 packs and da da da. I'm like, okay, it's almost like they're sort of sharing their day, or almost like a little vlog. And then there could be someone that's really making a good. I'm running out of words here, but basically, there's not too many. Let's go for quality over quantity. So if you do want to, some people will be like, oh, cool, I got a pack. I'm going to film this and share it. That's awesome. I'd see that as, a fan sharing some stuff. But then there could be someone who's got the thumbnails, they've got the consistent times, and they're sharing their box openings. I think that's much more intentional. I would see that person as a creator. Some people I might, from my personal perspective, not professionally, but personally, I might be like, okay, that person's just sharing a pack that they opened. I don't personally consider that originally, intentionally thought out content creation. So there are little things there. No, there's not too many creators, but there could be more. Let's say there's 10,000 creators out there currently. That's wishful thinking. Let's say there's 10,000 of them, and maybe 9,000 of those are just taking a video and just putting it up there. Wouldn't it be great if 5,000 of those people had the thumbnails and the regular times? Oh, and here's another one, team. You want to cut your longer videos into chapters, and then the fans will go wild. They can just skip all the shit, go straight to the good stuff. Chapters are really good, team, so try that, everyone. Yeah, but no, there's not too many creators, but it would be cool if there were more thumbnails and more regular times and more sharing about their episodes coming up. Great question. Thanks, Pascal.
Yeah. Awesome. So before we get to the Arsenal step, Bill, are there any other things you want to ask Chris?
Sorry, go on in.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I was just gonna say I didn't really have all that much, but something that I do want to throw out there just to get the people intrigued. Something that we were talking about a little bit earlier, and I'll ask again. But Chris, is there a possibility?
What's your preview card? It's coming.
I mean, if you want to tell me, then that's cool. But no.
Well, I want to, but I can't.
But no, is there a possibility that we could potentially see you as a guest on the Goliath Gauntlet over on the Spike Feeders channel? Because that would be
well,
nice.
I do love a good erase face Goliath Gauntlet turn 1 blitz combo. Oof. So let's do it. Sign me up. I would be honored and privileged to come and hang out on the GG podcast. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
that'll be fun. That'll be exciting. If y'all don't watch already, though you should be, Spike Feeders Fab, they make really good quality gameplay videos for Flesh and Blood.
Man, Spike Feeders have some of the highest production quality out there. a lot of people have seen the mind-blowing, ready-to-roll preview card from Everfest with the. Oh man, I'm about to drop a lot of bad language there. I'm just so excited. But man, there was 8-bit animation, music, scripts, storylines. Oh, it was just beautiful. And everyone, Spike Feeders are much more than beautiful preview card videos. So yeah, get involved with Spike Feeders. They got lots of different games, lots of different formats. It's like the Spike Feeders channel is like a network, a TV network station with many smaller TV shows inside of it. And that type of content gets me really excited. Not that I'm biased, but I really do get excited about channels or shows that are presented like a show. I think there's really something powerful in, like, why do we watch TV, or why do we watch Stranger Things season 27 Lost in the Metaverse, or why do we watch these things? Because we want to sort of sit down, relax, and be entertained. So I see the shows where there's, like you guys have some multiplayer stuff, and then you have a gameplay thing, and then you have a skip thing, and that's a whole TV network. And I think that's some good stuff. That's some good content.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the kind words. That's awesome.
Wow. You guys really, put a lot of thought, time, and effort into it, and I think it's one of the best examples of some top tier content out there. So thank you, Spike Feeders.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. All right, so if there's no more questions, let us move on to the Arsenal step. This is a part of the podcast where we talk about something that we're passionate about or really into outside of the world of Flesh and Blood. And Chris, as the guest, we would like to pass this over to you. You could free to talk about whatever you want, man.
Oh, wow. I want to talk with y'all about something that we can all talk about. So I've got a couple of ideas. Like, one, pro wrestling, but how deep down the rabbit hole can you go? Pro wrestling's one topic. Another one is Korea and or K-pop, one of my biggest and most obsessive passions since the dawn of time. And what's the third one? Third one can be fine art, particularly contemporary abstract expressionism. So, balls in your court, boys.
All right. I know the most out of these three topics. I know the most about wrestling, though. For my degree, I did take some fine art classes, though I know more classics than contemporary, to be honest. More David, less whoever's contemporary, less Banksy. More David, less Banksy.
Okay, I'm into it. I like it. You loving it.
Yeah.
Az, do you have any preferences there?
I played a lot of wrestling games when I was little, so probably wrestling. I know a lot of the old school characters and what have you. So maybe
It's your lucky day, gents, because we have now arrived to the part of the show which was formerly known as the Arsenal step. Was it Arsenal pass?
Something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Formerly known as, but now welcome back to 7 Days of Flesh and Blood with Chris Bewley, with Red Zone Rogue, with the Spike Beaters, with the Azalea Cult. Now, the first question of these three, one of each for all you fine gentlemen looking like a delicious marshmallow, yummy today is, hello, who is your favorite current professional wrestler? You got 5 seconds.
My current.
I'm sorry, Az, I'm going to have to cut you off there. We're moving over to Cal now. Cal, a question about fine art. What are your top 3 Banksy current works in the Metro London area? You've got 7 seconds on this one, my friend.
Did he shred that piece of artwork in London? Because that would be the number one. The one where they bid on it and then he immediately shredded it. That'd be the number one.
I'm very sorry. Our time has run out on that one. We're now moving over to the Spike Feeders to talk about the current topic of who is your favorite member of the K-pop group Twice?
Oh God, I should know this. Madison is so obsessed with Twice. No.
Now we could go down the Japanese line of Mina, Momo, and Sana. You could be looking at the other sort of foreign line of Tsuyu. Or you could even just go mono-Korean. There's a few good choices in there. Depends if you're going down more of the vocal or the dance. Oh, sorry, Chris, I'm going to have to cut you off there. Back to you, Cal.
What? Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing? What's going on?
I'm pretty good.
What are you up to later on? Do you have a couple games of Blitz or a bit of UPF? What are you?
Oh, dude.
Are we still recording? Oh, okay. Sorry, Cal. Yeah, we were.
I do have an Icelander Blitz deck and 2 UPF decks I could play, so I'd be down with that.
Well, I'm already late for work, so I better not queue out too much more for the afternoon.
Yeah. Favorite pro wrestler? Asuka. Go.
Ooh, great choice. She's good.
If you want to do old school, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Ooh, another fine choice. The best there is. The best
Macho
there
Man
was,
Randy
the best-
Savage.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Undertaker.
The cream of the crop.
Undertaker was good. We used to
Yeah,
joke.
Chokeslam. Chokeslam's a card. It's a flesh and blood
That
card.
it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrestling cards, eh?
Yeah, we used to joke. There was one particular image of like the Undertaker, and he was holding his hand up, kind of in front of his face, and we'd always joke that he had his lines written on his hand, and he was memorizing them before he'd go on.
When recently, well, not recently, probably 5 years ago, when The Rock and John Cena were doing their WrestleMania feuds, The Rock wrote some of his notes on his hand, and then John Cena impromptu just started ripping into him live on the mic, saying, "Oh, why have you got your notes on your hand?" That was a pretty cool one. But I thought you guys were going to make a wee reference about one of the awesome pieces of coverage over the last while, where it was at the Pro Tour. I think it was a bunch of national champions. And old mate Tariq put his hand over old mate Hayden's face, and I thought you were going to go down that sort of reference line. It made for a few good Twitter posts, I remember.
Someone made some like sleeves out of it too. It was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the edit where all of the faces were Hayden's face was also pretty good.
The
Yeah.
face of flesh and blood. There you go.
Yeah, all the faces, not just the face.
All the faces.
Yeah, it's like a Marvel villain. He's just transposed his face onto everyone or something.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, yeah, and the other thing that I'm very passionate about, which I think we're probably out of time on, but I am wearing a T-shirt of the Marvel comics or Marvel everything.
Nice.
God, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so
big fan.
one last question then for Chris before we go. Then, since you're a big fan of Marvel, I'm gonna make it really hard on you. What's your favorite Marvel movie?
Unfortunately, not Thor: Love and Thunder by the incredible New Zealand director and writer Taika.
I haven't
Taika
seen it.
Waititi.
My favorite Marvel movie probably Endgame. That's such a vanilla answer, but I have my reasons. It's either Endgame or Deadpool 1.
Okay.
Or Ragnarok.
I do like Deadpool 1. That one was
Yeah, I'm a big
solid one for
Deadpool
me.
simp.
I would personally Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok's my favorite, I think.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, yeah.
The visuals, the story. I really like. I have a lot of issues with movie. I'm a real picky film critic sometimes, but I have a real issue when a film does not have a really fixed, clear antagonist, like a bad guy, because I feel like it leaves the viewer, or me particularly, like just a bit lost. Like, who is the bad guy? What is the goal?
I can see that.
And I found like Love and Thunder didn't have that much of a compelling bad guy, but Ragnarok really did. So, yeah.
And the music, man, like the opening sequence with Immigrant Song, like holy crap, man, that was
yeah.
amazing. Love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
and
good one.
Of course, having like really defined storylines and stuff like that is really important for things other than movies. Like it's important for movies and for video games and even like card games. Like for example, obviously the main bad guy of the Dynasty set, who we all know is sorry, what was his name, Chris? I can't remember what you had mentioned before.
Brilliant.
Sometimes there's shades of grey. Not that many, just a few. A couple of shades of grey. And who is the good guy? Only time will tell. Time will tell. That's not a card name.
Time will
That's the
tell.
more.
I could see Time Will Tell being a card name at some point.
That could make a good name. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. I don't know
Take an
that
extra
today.
turn
Let's
after
say
this
that.
one.
Oh, are we getting Time Walk?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no. Hey,
Zombie Hammer was like a time walk, I think.
I was gonna say we already got Ancestral Recall, except it's like not very good. Well, it's good.
Except
but,
for Ranger.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some good stuff coming.
Oh, dude,
Always
I
do.
can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you,
Absolutely.
by the way, so much, Chris, for being on here. Thank you for your time and thank you for your insight into all of these questions. It's been a blast, man.
Oh man,
Yeah, thank you
honestly,
so much.
like, thank you all. I've been a fan of the Spike Feeders from the first time that we sort of chatted, and even before that, I saw the videos sort of popping up from other games and things. I thought this is really cool stuff, and then we had a few conversations, and Spike Feeders, you guys, and the diversity and the detail in your work blows me away. As in Cult of Azalea, I love the persistence, the perseverance. You guys didn't get any preview cards, and you haven't made any video series with us, but you didn't stop making content. You kept going. You kept going bigger and harder, and more guests, and more of this and more of that, and that is very, very admirable.
I think it goes into the niche again. Like the niche is a thing. Like it took me. I've been making content for about a year now, but it's only literally recently where I've found what I want to speak about. As a niche, as a passion, and I love Azalea and stuff, as you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're gonna love your preview card, my friend. So thank you so much for all of the hard work and passion in the Cult of Azalea, and of course, Cal. When you asked me, I started fanboying pretty hard because I'm not only I see a couple of Red Zone Rogues. I see your channel when I just watch it as a fan and as a viewer, which I do whether it would be my job or not. And then when we're speaking or communicating through the emails or chats or anything, just one of the most genuine, awesome, fun, genuine relationship connections. You're one of the best, and your channels and the way that you work with people and the way that you foster communities and inspire people is nothing short of inspiring. So thank you all for having me.
Thank you, man.
And
Thank you.
for giving us a really cool platform to be able to share this awesome content creation topic with people. So I'm a little bit starstruck now. So thank you so much, everybody, for having me on.
Yeah, of
You
course.
and me both.
Absolutely honored to have you as our first guest on here. As we wrap it up, where can everyone find everyone? Let's start with Chris. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me at fabtcg.com.
Yeah.
I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a Twitter. Yeah, that's a pretty main website. I don't have a Twitter. If you feel like watching some of my old stuff on YouTube for a laugh, you could go to 7 Days of Flesh and Blood. That's the Roman numeral 7, or VII. Or if you want to go back 9 years, shit, you could go and check out, what's that? Desperate Ravings with Chris Bewley. I'm warning you about that one. Yeah.
I watched you get 500 wins with your Warlock.
Oh yeah, that was a bit of Hearthstone in there too.
Yeah.
Your set came out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you can find hit me up on Facebook if you want, team. Chris Bewley. You'll find the spelling. Bewley rhymes with Spewley, easy to remember.
It'll be in the title of the video.
So find me on Facebook if you want to say hi. You won't get a preview card out of it, but you will get a new friend. So there you go.
Arguably better. Not arguably, way better.
Definitely better.
Yeah. How about...
Wow. You should see Az's preview card. It's pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie. It's not better than his card. Yeah.
Speaking of Az, where can everyone find you?
Yes, so I'm Az from Go Again Gaming, and yes, as we've aforementioned already, the Azalea Cult co-founder, alongside with Jim with FAB TCG cards. He's in it for the ride as well. Over on Go Again Gaming on YouTube and Twitter, Go Again Gaming AZ. Spend a lot of time on there as well recently, posting all manner of different images and what have you. And I'm on Instagram as well. Shout that out, Go Again Gaming UK as well. So please go and click those things if you would.
Yeah. How about you, Bill? Where can everyone find you and your Spike Feedery things?
Spike feederiness.
Yeah.
I am Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on Twitter at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at Spike Feeders Fab. We also do have a main channel that's more Magic the Gathering related, but if you're interested in Magic the Gathering as well, then you can check us out at the Spike Feeders. But if you want to see live gameplay of Flesh and Blood, we have Blitz and CC. And we're potentially going to be having some additional guests on the show, as we were kind of discussing earlier. But yeah, if you like watching gameplay, and we have some a few videos of us discussing current at the time events. They're not so current events anymore, but we like to have a decent variety of content on our channel. So feel free to check us out.
Yeah, excellent. And I am Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue, and you can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue. YouTube.com/Red Zone Rogue, Twitter.com/Red Zone Rogue, Instagram and Facebook I don't use as much, but you can find me there too. And thank y'all for watching, and thanks y'all for hanging out with us. Yeah, it's been a great time. We'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.